Now, of course, over the weekend, a big event was the demonstration in London around Tommy Robinson. Let's have a look at some of the footage from that.
Europe has seen, and it's happening in Great Britain. Okay? Get your people organised, unify your countries. Enough is enough. The line in the sand has been drawn. We're being replaced no longer.
So a very emotive demonstration, lots of people, lots of flags, lots of talk about our country and wanting our country back. I'm going to make some comment on people's understanding of what's happening in this country and what they need to understand. But in the first place, that demonstration went through peacefully. I think this was very commendable to everybody who took part. And of course, it upset a lot of the establishment with their labels of extremism and right wing. Where I think that Tommy Robinson needs to be paying attention is how things are being controlled. And I want to thank somebody from Denmark who pointed a finger at the Fabian Society and suggested that I should have a look at some connections. Now, it's a little while since I've looked at the Fabians. Ben Rubin has been reporting in more recent UK column news editions, but this is where my research took me. So the first place is the Foundation for European Progressive Studies, and it says that this is the think tank of the progressive political family at EU level. Our mission is to develop innovative research, policy advice, training and debates to inspire and inform socialist and social democratic policies and policies across Europe. Now, all of this circles around the Fabians. That's how I came into this material, but we'll follow it through. The key thing here is this is a hub of groups who are essentially active groups in many countries: Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Germany, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, United Kingdom, of course, different grades of members, full members and associate members. And on the right in red, you're seeing the linked organisations which they're helping to promote. So I decided just to home in a little bit on the links through to the United Kingdom, and I've got some names here: Progressive Britain, the Fabian Society itself, the Institute for Public Policy Research, SPERI, Greenwich Political Economy Research Centre, and then there's some for the European Union, Solidar. We've also got Young European Socialists, PES Women, PES Committee of the Regions, Socialists and Democrats, and the Party of European Socialists. And against that background, it's no wonder that with some irony, the map of Europe is red from west to east as opposed to east to west. But this is a very, very deeply interlinked and interwoven system of think tanks and change agenda organisations. Now, this is one of them, and this to me brings us right back to the debate with Tommy Robinson. So this one says, a free and democratic Europe countering far-right populism. So if Mr. Robinson wants to understand what he's really up against, he needs to start researching the power of these organisations these organisations and how deep they are inside not only the politics of UK, but the politics of the whole of the European region. And of course, excuse me, what do they want to get to grips with? They want to get young people as soon as possible. So here we've got an event from the Foundation for European Progressive Studies. And of course, if we, excuse me, if we look at the audience, we can see that the compliant young people who will be the change agents are being gently groomed into the politics of this particular organisation. But here's Solidar, another one of the European connections, and it says alliance building is central to Solidar's identity and work. It's essential if we want to achieve social, political and economic change. And it talks about effectively being a hub to link as many people as possible in this agenda of creating change. Very often, of course, though, the change is not described. So here's just some of the sorts of groupings of partners that they're after. They're after trade unions, they're after civil society networks, they're after progressive political forces, and they're after progressive foundations. What does progressive mean? Well, of course, that's never fully defined, but you can take it as being massive change to society as they desire, and not necessarily what the public themselves desire. Now, can we get a bit more feeling for the sorts of things that they're doing? Well, this is to do with the EU social pillar and the future of the EU social agenda. So this is a particular document. I've just taken one paragraph out of it, but it says that the welfare state must undergo significant revitalisation facilitated by the European pillar of social rights. Is the NHS involved in this? I would say almost certainly, but of course the government is not declaring it. And if we have a look down here, it says that important social partners and civil society insights, or social partners and the civil society insights are important in shaping policies and decisions through what they describe as a shadow social agenda. Ben, very quickly, I'm going to throw this at you. What's your take on a shadow social agenda being run through the EU political system?
It strikes me that that's what the EU's probably for, isn't it?
I think that is the right answer, that we're not clear of the EU, and if it can't be overt in its political machinations, it's going to do them in a covert shadow way. But we'll look at more of this in due course. Here's another bit of, this is the PES, the Party of European Socialists, Socialists and Democrats, and an example of some of their publications. So we've got a trillion being spent on the European Green Deal. There's talk about food supply, climate change, and a progressive model for trade and investment. So this is the real agenda shaping UK politics, but we're not being told about it. And what is really insidious is that our own universities are being used as a political weapon against our population by the likes of the Fabian Society and the European Union. So this brings us to the University of Sheffield and the Sheffield Political Economy Research Institute, which is apparently leading the debate on a new political economy. And SPERI, as it calls itself, develops and promotes new analysis and understanding of, quote, contemporary capitalism and of the major economic and political challenges arising from it. So this is a university working directly with the Fabian system and the European organisation. And of course, here is more of their publications, which are clearly designed to influence and drive the political agenda, whether the voter likes it or not. And if Sheffield University is involved, then I can also tell you that Greenwich is also involved. And here is the Greenwich Political Economy Research Centre, which is in the middle of this Fabian EU political web. And we've got a short video here talking us through exactly what they do. Pay attention.
I'm Özlem Onaran. I'm Professor of Economics and Director of Greenwich Political Economy Research Center. The aim of Greenwich Political Economy Research Center is to produce research that addresses the burning issues of our time, such as inequality in income and wealth, gender gaps in pay and employment, climate change, renewable energy, financial fragility, or innovation. We want to answer the questions which affect people's lives. We find progressive solutions for an equitable and sustainable future. We want to give the people the assurance that our research will find progressive alternatives for the problems that matter to their lives. These problems happen for complex reasons that include institutional aspects, power relations, social norms, and public policies. We use a plurality of methods and theories such as ecological economics, feminist economics, institutionalist research, post-Keynesian analysis, or Marxist social theory. We are trying to share our research with the broader public. We always organize high-profile national and international conferences throughout the year here at the Greenwich campus. We publish our research in not only world-leading economic journals, but also we make them available free online to the public in the form of Greenwich papers in political economy and policy briefs. All of these are available on our website as well as the calendar of events.
So I hope our viewers and listeners caught it, but she's calmly talking about Marxist social theory. That's what's being fermented in the background, but the public, of course, are largely unaware of what's happening. And I'm going to suggest that Tommy Robinson and his team are also completely unaware of how this country is being subverted. Now, here's Progressive Britain, which is also mentioned in the EU Fabian web. We are Progressive Britain, they say in their own material. They're running conferences, but essentially they're influencing. And if you read the text here, it says that they're partnering with Labour to win. Well, Labour has won, so we can be sure as to what's coming. And if we have a look at some of the people, it's very interesting. So out of this little gallery of their team, it was interesting to have a look at Adam Langelben, the executive director. He was previously head of communications at the Jewish Leadership Council and a shadow spokesperson for Regeneration as a Labour councillor in Barnet. He also served as National Secretary of the Jewish Labour Movement and co-led the referral of the Labour Party to the Equality and Human Rights Commission. So these are not passive activists. They are actually overt and I would say pretty aggressive in their actions. If we go in a different direction, we got Roger Liddell. He's a Labour member of the House of Lords, special advisor to Tony Blair on European affairs, and to the European Commissioners Peter Mandelson and Jose Manuel Barroso. So this man deep into European politics, and he's working extremely hard there with Progressive Britain. This was a face that I recognised because this is Tudor Evans, who was elected to Plymouth City Council in 1988 and has been leader of the Labour group since, and of course back in power. So when we look at a simple statement from our MPs, such as this one by local MP Luke Pollard in Plymouth, where it's saying that he backs Labour's plan to build 1.5 million more homes. Is this a local MP making his own decision, or is he simply a puppet following what is actually now the EU line? And very quickly, I'm going to say that the links go through to the US as well with the Centre of American Progress. And if we have a look at the board of directors, we're into extremely wealthy people very quickly. So at the end of the, sorry, I've brought that one up a little bit early. At the end of the day, it's clear that we've got a massive attack on politics as a whole, and the think tanks and the change agents are working from plush offices behind the scenes, largely unknown by the electorate.